Chapter 9, Human Hearts. You're locked in a house where a monster hunts at night. But then the monster stops killing. Sounds like good news, right? Wrong. Because now you have 3 days to find a dead body, or everyone dies. And as the hours tick down, you start to realize, the person standing next to you is already doing the math. Already wondering if your death could save their life. The question isn't whether someone will snap. It's when. And whether you'll be the victim, or the killer. The scream in the dark. Lin Qiushi had heard screams before in this cursed village, more than he cared to count, more than any person should have to carry in their memory. But tonight's scream was different. It carried a quality that separated it from the supernatural wails they'd grown accustomed to, a texture that was unmistakably, horrifyingly human. This wasn't the otherworldly shriek of something that shouldn't exist. This was prey recognizing its predator. This was someone who understood, with crystalline clarity, that they were about to die. And accompanying that scream came other sounds, the heavy thud of something solid hitting the floor, a body, definitely a body, and the sharp crack of impact that suggested violence. Angry cursing echoed through the walls, male voices rough with exertion and rage. Then came the sound that made Lin's blood run cold, footsteps running frantically through the corridor, stumbling, desperate, accompanied by breathless pleas. "Help me, somebody help me, someone's trying to kill me, help." The voice was slightly familiar, and Lin's mind raced to place it. One of the women in their group, definitely. Her voice was shredded with terror, each word scraped raw from her throat as if she'd used up every reserve of strength just to produce sound. Lin Qiushi lay frozen in his bed, unable to determine if what he was hearing was real or some elaborate auditory hallucination crafted by whatever malevolent force governed this place. His breathing came shallow and irregular. The screaming was getting closer. Louder. More desperate. More real. "Help me," the woman seemed to be on the second floor now, their floor. Her footsteps pounded through the hallway in an erratic rhythm of pure panic. The sound of her fists against doors came in rapid succession, bang 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 bang, moving down the corridor like a grotesque countdown. "Someone's trying to kill me, help, please open your doors. Please, I'm begging you, open up." No doors opened. The silence from the other rooms was deafening, a collective held breath, a dozen people simultaneously deciding that whatever was happening out there was not their problem. They'd all retreated into cocoons of self-preservation, pulled the blankets over their heads literally or metaphorically, pretending not to hear. Lin remained motionless in his bed, every muscle tense, as the desperate woman made her way down the hall. He could track her progress by sound alone, the frantic footfalls, the impact of palms against wood, the progression of denial as door after door remained closed to her. Until she reached his door. "Help me, please help me." The woman was crying now, her voice breaking apart into fragments. She pounded on his door hard enough that he could feel the vibrations through the floor. "Please open the door, he's gone crazy, he's going to kill me, please, please, I don't want to die, please save me. Please, I'm begging you." Her fists hammered against the wood in a rhythm that matched his racing heartbeat. Each impact was a question: are you human? Will you help? Or will you let me die? Lin slowly sat up in bed, but he didn't move toward the door. He sat in the darkness, frozen by a paralysis that was part fear, part calculation, part shame. His mind raced through scenarios. What if this was a trick? What if opening the door brought the danger inside? What if the woman herself was the danger? What if she was telling the truth and he let her die? Wan Baijia, who should have been sleeping soundly beside him, spoke softly into the darkness. "Do you want to save her?" Lin's throat was dry. "Can I?" Wan blinked slowly, her eyes catching what little light filtered through the shutters. After a long pause, she said, "If you want to." The answer was maddeningly ambiguous, neither permission nor warning, just a statement of possibility. Lin felt the weight of the decision settling onto his shoulders like a physical burden. Outside, the woman continued her desperate pleading, her voice growing hoarse, fraying at the edges. Lin made his choice. He stood quickly, crossed to the door before he could reconsider, and with teeth gritted, pulled back the lock and yanked the door open. The blood-soaked truth. The scene that greeted him was worse than he'd imagined. The woman, and now he recognized her as Wang Xiaoyi, one of the younger members of their group, was drenched in blood. It matted her hair, soaked through her clothes, painted her skin in shades of arterial red that looked black in the dim hallway light. Her right arm hung awkwardly at her side, clearly injured, and she clutched at it with her left hand in a futile attempt to stanch whatever bleeding was happening beneath her fingers. Blood seeped through the gaps between her fingers in a steady, horrifying rhythm. When she saw the door open, saw Lin standing there, something broke in her. She lunged forward with the desperate energy of a drowning person grasping at a rope. "Help me, please save me." "What happened?" Lin managed to ask, though the answer seemed abundantly clear from the evidence painting her entire body. "He's trying to kill me," Wang Xiaoyi sobbed, the words tumbling out in a rush. "He wants to kill me." Lin stepped back instinctively, gesturing for her to enter. "Who? Who's trying to kill you?" "Cheng Wan." The name hit Lin like a slap. Cheng Wan, he had an impression of the man, a quiet guy, maybe mid-30s, had seemed reasonable enough before everything went to hell. Before survival calculations had replaced basic human decency. Lin wanted to ask more questions, wanted to understand what had driven one member of their group to hunt another like prey, but a new sound cut through his thoughts, the violent splintering of wood echoing up from below. Between the first and second floors stood an old wooden door, decrepit and weathered. People usually closed it at night, a flimsy psychological barrier more than a real security measure. That door had apparently bought Wang Xiaoyi precious seconds that had saved her life. Until now. The sound of wood giving way under repeated impacts echoed through the house like breaking bones. Lin quickly pulled Wang Xiaoyi fully inside and locked his door with shaking hands. She stood in his room trembling violently, her entire body racked with shudders that seemed to come from somewhere deeper than cold, deeper than fear. This was trauma manifesting physically, the body's response to narrowly escaped death. Outside, the door between floors finally surrendered with a crash that seemed to shake the entire building. Almost immediately, rapid footsteps thundered up the stairs and into the second-floor corridor. "Where did you go?" The male voice was harsh, breathless from exertion or rage or both. "You all better hand over Wang Xiaoyi right now. Don't let her in your rooms." It was definitely Cheng Wan. His voice carried an edge of manic determination that made Lin's skin crawl. Wang Xiaoyi whimpered quietly, trying to muffle the sound with her good hand. Wan Baijie had risen from the bed, moving with an unhurried grace that seemed wildly inappropriate to the situation. She wasn't panicking, wasn't rushing. Instead, she stood by the window in her nightclothes, calmly running her fingers through her hair as if this were any ordinary morning, as if there weren't a blood-soaked woman crying in their room and a would-be murderer hunting in the hallway. The standoff. Cheng Wen's footsteps stopped directly outside Lin's door. The trail of blood that Wang Xiaoyi had left behind, droplets and smears, ended at Lin's threshold. The evidence was impossible to miss, a breadcrumb trail that led straight to her hiding place. "Open the door. Lin Qiushi." Cheng Wen's voice was loud enough to wake anyone who'd somehow managed to sleep through the earlier commotion. "Is Wang Xiaoyi in your room?" Lin said nothing. In the silence, his mind raced through options, through consequences, through the cascading possibilities of what might happen next. Wan Baijie's voice emerged soft and feminine, almost playful. "It's so late. What's all this noise about?" You need to hand her over right now. Cheng Wen's words came out in a rush, frantic and insistent. She's not human. Don't let her trick you. Lin felt his stomach drop. What do you mean? Cheng Wen sounded increasingly agitated, his voice taking on qualities of someone pushed far beyond their breaking point, irritation, impatience, and underneath it all, something vicious and sharp. She's really not human, you have to believe me. Wang Xiaoyi heard this and began crying louder, her voice rising to match his volume. You're the one who's not human, Cheng Wen. You're trying to use that excuse to murder me. You think if you kill me, you'll survive? Is that it? The accusation hung in the air, and Lin understood immediately what she was suggesting. Cheng Wen had done the cold math, had decided that Wang Xiaoyi's death could become the dead thing they needed to fill the well, to complete the ritual, to ensure their escape. Cheng Wen's voice transformed in response, becoming something ugly and distorted with rage. Wang Xiaoyi, stop pretending. You're the monster hiding among us. I've discovered your secret. Get out here. He began slamming against the door with his full body weight, each impact making the wood groan and the hinges shudder. The door was already worn and damaged, it wouldn't hold long against a determined adult male throwing himself against it repeatedly. Lin positioned himself near the door and shouted back, if you kill Wang Xiaoyi, even if you get out of here alive, you'll be a murderer. They'll put you in prison. Lin Qiushi, mind your own business. Cheng Wen's voice was raw. Something snapped in Lin. The fear, the uncertainty, the days of accumulated horror, it all transformed into anger. Well, you know what? I'm making it my business. You want in? You try getting in here and I'll fuck you up. He rolled up his sleeves, breathing hard, adrenaline surging as he began looking around the room for anything he could use as a weapon. Cheng Wen must have sensed the genuine rage in Lin's voice because the door battering paused. When he spoke again, his voice had changed, become hoarse, almost pleading, trying a different tactic. Lin Qiushi. Tonight I'll be the bad guy. You push her out here. We just need someone to die, and then we can all go home. The cold logic of it, the reduction of a human life to a mere ingredient in a recipe for survival, made Lin's blood run cold even as it fueled his fury. Dream on, Lin spat. You, Cheng Wen started. Leave, Lin said, his voice hard as stone. I'm not letting you kill her. Silence followed. Long seconds that stretched into a minute. Then, impossibly, the sound of retreating footsteps echoed down the hallway. Lin hadn't expected Cheng Wen to give up so easily. He stood frozen, listening intently, half convinced it was a trick. After another minute of silence, he turned to Wang Xiaoyi. He's gone. Wang Xiaoyi collapsed into fresh sobs, this time not from fear but from relief so intense it hurt. The long night watch. For the rest of the night, none of the three occupants of Lin's room slept much. Lin worked carefully to clean and bandage Wang Xiaoyi's arm. The wound was deep but not arterial, a slice that spoke of a struggle, of her using her arm to defend against something meant for her throat or chest. While he tended to her injury, Huan Baijie sat by the window in perfect stillness, staring out into the darkness. What are you looking at? Lin asked, his voice quiet to avoid disturbing Wang Xiaoyi, who had finally dozed off from pure exhaustion. I'm looking at the well, Huan replied, her voice distant. What's so interesting about that? Lin had no fond feelings for the well. It represented death, ritual, horror, everything wrong with this place. Ruan's voice took on an almost gentle quality, which somehow made her words more disturbing. It's good to look at it closely. After all, eventually I might end up down there. I won't let you end up in the well, Lin said firmly. He finished wiping up the blood on the floor, cleaning away evidence of what had happened, making the room look normal again even though nothing was normal. He spoke with quiet conviction, if anyone has to go in that well, it'll be me first. Ruan laughed, a soft, genuine sound that seemed out of place in the darkness. Finally, she said, "You're a very interesting person." The morning after, Wang Xiaoyi survived the night. Though her right hand was injured badly enough that she could barely move her fingers, being alive at all qualified as extraordinarily lucky under the circumstances. Lin had assumed that Chengwen would be too ashamed or guilty to show his face the next morning. He was wrong. When they came downstairs, Chengwen sat in the first-floor common area eating breakfast with a casual demeanor that suggested nothing whatsoever had happened the previous night. He chewed methodically, scrolled through something on his phone, still somehow charged, another impossibility of this place, and looked for all the world like a man without a care. Wang Xiaoyi saw him and immediately pressed herself behind Lin, tears welling up again in her eyes. Lin's voice came out cold and hard, "Chengwen, you have the nerve to show your face." Chengwen glanced at Lin with complete indifference. "Why wouldn't I? You tried to kill Wang Xiaoyi." Lin couldn't comprehend the casual attitude, the complete lack of remorse or even acknowledgement. "She's a living, breathing human being." Chengwen sneered, then said nothing more. He returned his attention to his breakfast as if Lin had commented on the weather. Others in the group who'd overheard the exchange reacted in varied ways. Some directed looks of disgust at Chengwen. There was still some humanity left in those people, some basic recognition that attempted murder was wrong. But others displayed expressions of complete numbness, their eyes dead and indifferent, as if killing a teammate was a matter of no consequence whatsoever. The divergence was terrifying. It marked who had retained their humanity and who had already crossed into something else, something that could calculate survival equations with human lives as variables. Xiong Qi looked uncomfortable, his usual easy manner strained. He muttered, "If you're so capable, go kill the ghost. Why are you attacking your own teammates?" Chengwen shoved food into his mouth and didn't bother responding. Lin watched him carefully, afraid he might suddenly lash out again. Something about Chengwen's state seemed off, wrong in a way Lin couldn't quite articulate. There was a violation of normalcy, a wrongness in his mannerisms, but the specific nature of it remained frustratingly elusive. The horrible realization. It wasn't until after breakfast, when Lin and Ruan Baijie had returned to their room, that she asked the question that reframed everything. "Do you think the ghost will kill anyone in the next 3 days?" "What do you mean?" Lin was confused by the apparent non sequitur. "That thing clearly has intelligence," Ruan said, her tone analytical and chilling in its detachment. "If I were it, I wouldn't kill anyone for the next 3 days." "I don't understand," Lin started, but even as he spoke, the implication was beginning to dawn on him. Ruan's slender fingers slowly peeled the skin from a sweet potato she'd brought upstairs. Her lips parted, revealing a row of neat teeth that left perfect impressions in the soft flesh of the potato. She spoke while chewing. "If after 3 days we still don't have a dead thing to fill the well, what do you think will happen?" The blood drained from Lin's face as understanding crystallized. His throat worked, mouth suddenly dry. "There will be more than one Chengwen in the group." Ruan nodded slowly, satisfied that he'd grasped the full horror of their situation. The ghost, or whatever malevolent intelligence controlled this place, didn't need to kill them. It just needed to wait. Time pressure would do the work. Desperation would transform ordinary people into murderers, would make them rationalize atrocities, would convince them that killing one person to save 5 was not only acceptable but necessary. The entity had created a perfect pressure cooker of paranoia and survival instinct. Lin suddenly found himself missing the simple certainty of civilization, of laws and police and consequences. Back in the real world, Chengwen's actions last night would earn him 3 to 10 years in prison for attempted murder. Here, there were no police to call, no justice system to arbitrate. There was only survival or death, and the lines between victim and perpetrator blurred with each passing hour. So what do we do? Lin sighed, feeling the weight of impossible choices pressing down on him. We wait, Yuan said simply. Things will end eventually. Her tone suggested she was genuinely unconcerned about whether that ending would be better or worse than their current situation. The waiting game. Everyone was waiting for nightfall, though no one spoke the truth aloud. Most people were secretly hoping someone else would die. The hope was shameful, hidden behind false expressions of concern and solidarity, but it pulsed beneath every interaction like a second heartbeat. Let it be someone else. Let the problem solve itself. Let me survive. But night fell without incident. And the night after that. 2 nights passed in eerie tranquility, the darkness that had previously been lethal now quiet and almost peaceful. The wind blew, the snow fell, but nothing hunted. Nothing killed. The safe nights were somehow more terrifying than the dangerous ones had been. Lin found an opportunity to visit the carpenter, and he asked the question everyone was dreading: what happens if we can't fill the well within 3 days? The carpenter's answer was delivered with his usual maddening calm: then you'll need to go cut trees again. Make another offering at the shrine. Start the ritual over from the beginning. The words landed like a death sentence. They didn't have time for that. The food was running out, real food, not the mysterious eggs and meat that appeared from nowhere. The cold was intensifying. People's mental states were deteriorating by the hour. If they had to repeat the entire process, the entire group might be wiped out before they could complete it. Actually, we don't need to be too anxious, Xiaoku said, her voice carrying a bitter edge of dark humor. Every door guarantees at least one survivor. She laughed, a self-deprecating sound empty of real mirth. What if that one person turns out to be you? Nobody else responded. Because everyone understood the truth, gambling that you'd be the sole survivor was a bet with stakes too high to comprehend. The odds were terrible. The cost of being wrong was everything. The unspoken truth. As the 3rd day approached, the tension in the house became almost physically palpable, thick enough to taste, heavy enough to make breathing difficult. People moved through the hallways like ghosts themselves, avoiding eye contact, staying in their rooms as much as possible. Everyone was doing the same math, arriving at the same terrible conclusion: someone needed to die. And if the ghost wouldn't do it, then someone human would have to. Lin caught fragments of whispered conversations. Wouldn't be murder if they were already sick. Make it look like an accident. Just one person, that's all we need. The house had transformed from a shelter into a cage full of desperate animals, each calculating their odds, each weighing the value of other lives against their own survival. Lin kept thinking about the carpenter's words, about the well, about dead things. There had to be another solution, something they were missing. His mind turned over possibilities, rejected them, circled back. And then, in the quiet hours before dawn, lying awake while one breathed steadily beside him, it hit him. The 3rd night was coming, and with it, a decision that would define who they all truly were when the masks of civilization finally, completely fell away. Author's note: there's actually another place to find a dead thing. Has anyone guessed it yet? Ha ha ha. End of chapter 9. To be continued.